Last time, when thugs attacked me, my stepmom Anna sacrificed herself to save me. I decided to live with Anna and handed over all the family property to her for safekeeping. But then, she sold me off to northern Myanmar, and I died a miserable death far from home. My birth mother, who was always cold to me, secretly sold everything she had to bring my body back from Myanmar. Now I've opened my eyes again, going back to the day I was nearly attacked. Anna pulled me out of the alley, anxiously checking my injuries. I didn't break down crying. Instead, I asked her a question. 3 roads lead home. How did you find me? I was being dragged into a narrow, dark alley when I opened my eyes again. Don't scream, or I'll kill you. A man's big hand was tightly covering my mouth, his foul breath on my face. Another man was tearing my neckline open. I was back to the terrifying moment of last time. These 2 guys were small-time thugs arranged by Anna. It happened when I was just walking home after school. They dragged me into an empty alley. No amount of struggle helped, it was just like an endless nightmare. Next second, a light suddenly shone into the alley. Catherine. I'll fight you. Anna rushed over and hysterically started hitting the 2 guys. She kicked, swung her bag, even bit down on one man's shoulder. They fled in panic. Anna held me close, her eyes brimming with tears. Catherine, did they hurt you? Seeing this familiar scene, I realized I had been reborn. Back to the day Anna saved me. Last time, Anna settled things with my dad and married into our family when I was in 9th grade. I never called her mom and wasn't overly warm or cold with her. Anna, though, tried to win me over every day, making meals, buying me the best things, while getting cheap stuff for her own daughter. The housemaid said Anna was a rare good stepmother. Anna put in lots of effort over 3 years, but I never softened. Until my senior year in high school. I was running 5 minutes late, and Anna, worried about me, came to pick me up. That's when she heard me calling for help in the alley. She risked her life to save me, clothes torn, also nearly attacked. My stepsister cried and clung to her. Mom, they had knives. What if you got hurt? Anna wiped away her tears and said, you and Catherine are both my daughters. I'd give my life for you both. I was so touched. That day, I called Anna Mom for the first time. I started to trust her. After my dad died, Anna and my biological mom both had guardianship of me. I chose Anna over the birth mom I hadn't seen in over a decade. Before marrying Anna, my dad had a prenup. She claimed she loved my dad for himself, not his money, and wouldn't take a dime if they divorced. So his inheritance wasn't part of the deal. I was a minor and couldn't manage my dad's company. Out of trust for Anna, I handed over all his assets to her. But everything changed suddenly. I just drank a bottle handed to me by Anna's daughter Betty, and when I woke up, I was in a stranger's car. He sneered, saying I was sold to him. Over the phone, Betty taunted, Sister, don't tell me you really thought my mom sees you as her own daughter? Let me make it clear, the attack you nearly faced was my mom's doing. Once you're out of the picture, everything your dad left will be ours. She told the man to take care of me. I realized then, Anna and her daughter had been pretending all along. They played the parts of good wife and stepmother, and good stepsister, to get all my family's wealth. Once out of the car, I found myself in the darkest depths of northern Myanmar. After endless suffering, I died a miserable death, far away from home and unwillingly. And now, I've been given a second chance. A crowd gathered at the alley's entrance. I was covered by a coat from a kind stranger, pale and shaken. My dad rushed over too and took me home, still unable to speak. Betty started crying crocodile tears. My dad comforted us both. If not for you, Catherine's innocence would have been lost. Look at you, your face is swollen. Thank God neither of you were hurt, what luck. Anna had tears in her eyes, looking like she cared about nothing but my safety. Don't be scared, Catherine, I'm here, I'll protect you with my life. I looked at Anna and slowly asked, 3 routes to my house, how did you find me so easily? There are 3 paths home, each eventually leading back to my house. I always took the last one, and it was too coincidental Anna and those thugs found me there. Anna's expression changed, awkwardly laughing. I just happened to take this road, and there you were. Thank heavens. Surely, it's divine luck not letting anyone harm our Catherine. She said the same thing last time. Back then, I was grateful and thought I was lucky. Now, it seems Anna had been tracking my routine, with her men waiting on the 3rd road all along. Betty, visibly panicking, retorted, "Are you doubting my mom? She risked her life to save you. Do you have any conscience?" My dad sternly added, "Catherine, have you lost your basic judgment? Look at your aunt, her face is swollen. Would she have risked herself if she didn't truly care?" To be honest, Anna looked more ragged than I did. Her makeup was a mess, her face slapped swollen by those guys, her hair a tangled mess. Everything was perfectly staged. To everyone, she was a heroic stepmother. Anna dimly insisted, trying to pacify my dad, "Don't be like that, the kid's probably just scared out of her mind." I looked at the disheveled Anna, let my stunned look give way to tears and fear. Then I jumped into her arms, trembling. I was so scared, those men were disgusting, I was almost. Anna paused, gently patting my back, comforting me. Where my dad couldn't see, Anna and Betty exchanged a knowing glance. Eventually, just like last time, I called her mom. Anna was moved to tears as if she had finally gotten her due after all these years. My dad said it was a good thing for me to shed any prejudice against Anna. Externally I was crying, but inside, I was secretly smiling. The nightmarish memories of my past life still haunt me. People in northern Burma were really as Betty described. They paid me special attention, all right. So much that there wasn't a single good piece of skin on me, dirty and rotten inside and out. But things are different now. Reborn, I'm going to protect everything that's mine. Just like before, I'm bedridden again. What happened in that alleyway back then left a big psychological scar. I stayed home for over a week before I had the courage to go back to school. But now, I'm propped up in bed, sending out messages with a blank expression. Help me look into Anna and Betty. See if they've been dealing with anyone lately. I'm hitting up the big guy, Matthew, in our city. If there's something you need to know in the black market, everyone talks to Matthew. It's shady business, but right now, I need him. Anna's footsteps echo from outside the door. I quickly turn off my phone and pull up the covers, acting scared to interact with the outside world. Anna places a tray on the desk, gently encouraging me to eat. In my past life, when I shut myself in, Anna stayed by me every step of the way. Since those thugs had prepared ahead, the police couldn't find the culprits. Anna would check on me every hour, even standing outside the bathroom when I showered, afraid I'd think of doing something rash. She caught a cold from all the standing guard. I started to trust her more because of it. Looking back, those two really deserve an award for their acting. Anna lifted my blanket, personally wanting to feed me porridge. Auntie knows this hit you hard. It's okay not to go out, but you can't starve yourself. I suddenly sat up and bumped her wrist. Half the bowl of porridge spilled on her hand, scalding it red. Ah! Anna screamed in pain, almost jumping up. I quickly checked her burn. Auntie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I've been feeling terrible these days and accidentally hit you. You're not mad, right? I was almost crying, playing sincere to AT. Gritting through the pain, Anna forced a smile. Why would I be mad at you? Anyone would feel awful after what you've been through. Her hand was trembling, must have really burned. She must be wondering how this accident happened. But since her stepdaughter is showing so much care, she has to wear the kind stepmother mask and forgive me with a smile. I called for the maid and grabbed some ointment. Even though Anna was in pain, on the surface, she kept fussing over me. Seeing her holding back the pain was amusing. Let her endure it for now. This is nothing compared to what I went through in Burma. Anna and Betty will have their time eventually. Anna's waiting for me to fully trust her. I'm waiting for her to slip up. You can't rush dealing with people who wear masks. Best to use their own tactics against them. Snatch their mask off when they act shady, so they can't turn back. I'll find enough evidence to deliver a fatal blow. Lately, I've changed my attitude towards Anna. My dad and Anna think I've changed, and the family atmosphere feels nicer. Anna even suggested Betty tutor me. I happily agreed. She wants to mend my bond with Betty too. As they wished, I pester Betty until 1 or 2 a.m. every night for tutoring. Anna comes by with 2 bowls of night snacks every night, acting touched by our sisterly love, wiping her eyes. I apologize, Auntie, I'm sorry for troubling Betty at night to tutor me. Betty yawns but forces a smile, don't mention it, sister. We're family, of course, I hope the best for you. Hope for me, she says. More like hoping I drop dead. I just smile back without a word. Whenever I see something nice on Betty, I just take it. Betty, this hairpin looks expensive. Mind if I take it? Wow, this autograph from my favorite star, I'm a big fan too. I'll keep it, alright? Oh, didn't you say my notebook looked good? I left one on your desk for you, too. We're good sisters, no need to be formal. Betty's eyes almost pop out. That hairpin was a limited edition she snagged, plus her idol's autograph. And I'm handing her a $5 notebook. Funny enough, Anna buys expensive clothes and stuff for me up front but sneaks Betty money behind my back. I don't care for extravagance, but Betty's been secretly hoarding luxury items. I overheard Betty whining to her mom more than once. Mom, Catherine's taking all my stuff, which is so expensive. Anna just consoles her to endure it a bit longer. Betty has no choice but to continue her act as the sweet stepsister. A week later, I returned to school. Anna even had Betty keep an eye on me. On the way, Betty heaved a sigh, looking lost. I asked, Betty, what's wrong? Betty hesitated, saying she was stressed about college applications, losing sleep over it. Looking at me pitifully, she asked, Sis, I know you have a spot at NYU. Can you give it to me? You're aiming for Harvard, right? With your grades, you'll definitely get in. But I have nothing left. Ah, that's what she's after. Betty has decent grades, just struggles with math. In my past life, she begged me to give up my NYU spot for her. By then, things had eased between us, and Betty played the pity card well. I did want Harvard, so I gave her the spot. Even after that, her mother and she didn't go easy on me. I gave up the NYU spot and let Anna manage my inheritance, promising they'd be well provided for. But they didn't stop till they had everything, till I was dead. Some people are just evil to the bone, an eye for an eye is the only way to deal with them. I scrutinized Betty, saying nothing. Betty bowed her head, apologizing. Sorry, it's okay if you don't give it to me. I know it's too much to ask. Too much, indeed. Just because I might get into Harvard doesn't mean anyone has the right to ask for my place at NYU. I paused for a moment, patted her shoulder, and comforted her. Don't be upset. Let me think about it. We're family after all, we should help each other out. Betty's eyes lit up, you're saying yes? I smiled but didn't say anything. Betty was over the moon and insisted I talk to the teacher that day, hoping it would help her get into NYU. She kept bugging me after class. During the break, I went out for a bit and took a while to come back. Betty looked at me with high hopes, as if it was all set. When the homeroom teacher announced the list of students who got a recommendation to NYU, my name was on it. There was a gasp. Betty looked at me in disbelief, her pencil case dropped to the floor. After school, she confronted me angrily. Didn't you say you'd give the spot to me? Why aren't you keeping your word? I calmly stared at her. When did I say I'd give it to you? I said I'd think about it, right? Betty, why are you so anxious? Do you really want my spot that badly? Betty's face changed as she awkwardly laughed. I just think if you go to Harvard, it'd be a waste for you. Can't you reconsider? Fair point. I looked at Betty's anxious expression and took out a thick stack of materials from my bag. I've thought it over. It's better to teach someone to fish rather than just give them fish. Even if an extra spot opened up, with your current grades, it's not guaranteed you'd get it. You'd be better off improving your math. That way, you could still get into a good school. You. Betty's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. I kindly put the materials in her bag. Study hard, I'll make sure you finish them. As your sister, of course, I want what's best for you. Betty was so mad she was practically fuming but didn't dare say a bad word. Knowing her sister was looking out for her, she was, of course, grateful. That evening, in her room, she complained to her mom. Is Catherine crazy? She's driving me nuts. She won't give me the spot but has the nerve to give me homework. Is she calling me stupid? Anna said sternly, she's quite the self-righteous type, that's something she'd do. Don't worry, sweetie, the spot will be yours eventually. Betty scoffed, I'm waiting. A few seconds passed in silence before she asked nervously. Mom, do you think Catherine will realize we tricked her? Anna's voice was chilling. Nah, she shouldn't be that smart. We're covering all our bases, and even if she suspects something, she won't find proof. Besides, we're not doing anything wrong. Anna's voice came through the bug, on and off. I had placed the bug under her bed after getting close to Anna recently. They were pretty cautious, though, never directly mentioning the plot against me. Matthew had been digging into it on his end. He found out Anna withdrew $200,000 in cash from her bank account about 2 weeks ago and another $50,000 recently, likely to deal with those two thugs. Those thugs weren't pushovers either, probably asking for more money beyond the initial amount. Anna's voice came back on, no rush, I'll test her out. That night, Anna came to my room and played the poverty card. With a sheepish expression, she asked, Catherine, are you doing okay financially? My sister is sick and needs surgery. Can you lend me some money to tide me over? I couldn't believe she'd use that as a test. In my last life, Anna also asked me for money. Since my dad was strict with finances, giving Anna only $10,000 a month to manage the household, she said she spent it all on us. I believed her back then. When she asked to borrow money, I gritted my teeth and handed over all my saved red pocket money. I gave her my all, only for her to turn around and betray me up north. Thinking back, she probably didn't need money for family medical bills but to hush those thugs. The money I saved turned into a weapon against me. Now, with Anna asking again, I said with a hint of regret, Auntie, what to do? I was actually thinking of borrowing from you. Sigh, my classmates all say my dad's rich, always asking me for loans. I've lent out all my red pocket money. I'm too embarrassed to refuse. Someone asked for $500 last week, and I haven't given it. Auntie, do you have $500? Anna's face changed right away. Your classmates are taking advantage. What kind of student asks a peer for money? Don't lend any more in the future. Yes, you're right. I nodded vigorously, playing the victim. Auntie, please don't tell my dad. If he knows I'm spending like this, he'd kill me. Anna nodded knowingly, playing the caring stepmother. Don't worry, Catherine. Auntie will keep your secret. I pretended to choke up with gratitude. Auntie, you're so good to me, even better than my real mom. Anna floated on cloud 9 from a few flattering words. Thinking she shared a secret with me, she felt reassured even without the money, returning to her room, telling Betty to continue taking care of me. I pulled out my phone and asked Matthew a few things. Anna and her crew had been keeping up appearances, even driving me to and from school. At breakfast, my dad, in his authoritative manner, said, "This is more like it, a harmonious family." Anna and I both smiled demurely, saying it was good to resolve our differences. The current situation felt like a drama. My dad played the strong, traditional male figure, while Anna and I jockeyed for future control of the family's wealth. It was a tightrope walk. Anna was a skilled actress. I needed to tear off her mask in front of my dad, letting her fall off the cliff. One rainy day, after school, I packed up and headed to the school gate, only to spot a shadow. My pupils dilated instantly. It was my mom. Holding a black umbrella, dressed in a sleek silver-gray business suit, she looked sharp and crisp. I recognized her immediately. I suddenly remembered that in my past life, my mom visited me on a rainy day too. In that life, my relationship with my mom wasn't great. When I was 3, my parents got divorced. She left without me, choosing to travel far away. I don't remember much from my childhood. Just blurry memories of being teased for not having a mom, then crying alone at home with my toys. My dad always said my mom didn't want me, called her a terrible woman for leaving us. When he got drunk, he'd shout and tear her photos to pieces. Under his influence, I grew to hate her. She came back to our city for business when I was in high school. But I always pushed her away, telling her to leave. She was cold, unlike Anna who had a way with words. Plus, I never listened to her. Our relationship just got worse. We were like two strangers. After my dad passed, I didn't hesitate to choose Anna as my guardian over my birth mom. I thought you should choose those who treat you well. But sometimes the kindness is just a facade, and the ones who truly care might not be great with words. When I tragically died in Myanmar, I thought I could never return home. My dad was gone, my mom didn't love me, and I had no other family. But I didn't expect my mom to find out where I was and deal with the people there to bring my body back. It was a wildly unfair trade. The people laughed at her, called her foolish for paying just to retrieve my bones. My mom held my body, and her tears fell on me. "Catherine, Mama's here. Don't be scared. Catherine, Mama's taking you home." Suddenly, I snapped out of it and rushed to her. "Mom," I sobbed, my eyes prickling. She looked startled, her expression a bit evasive. "I wasn't here for you, just passing by. If you don't want the umbrella, fine." She didn't dare meet my eyes. Every time she saw me, I told her to leave, that I didn't want to see her. In the past life, she came on a rainy day to give me an umbrella. I threw it on the ground and stomped on it, shouting, "Didn't you abandon me? Why act like you care now? It's too late, I don't have a mother like you." I was angry she left me, hurting her with harsh words, pushing her away. My mom, being introverted, just got more distant. I didn't know what to say, just stood there staring at her. I suddenly noticed she was crying. "Are you crying?" I wondered aloud. Why did she cry seeing me? I recalled that in the past life, we were barely speaking then, and she never cried. Could it be that my mom was reborn too? "Mom, you..." She wiped her eyes, looking a bit dazed. Was I crying? Beep beep. A car horn blared behind me. "Let's go, my mom's picking us up." Betty tapped my shoulder. As soon as I turned to talk, my mom was already gone. In the car, Anna casually asked, "Catherine, was that your real mom? Did she come looking for you?" I remained calm. "We just ran into each other, said hi." Anna in the past faked being kind to earn my trust, relying on my poor relationship with my birth mother. She played the role of the caring parent, filling the void. If she found out my birth mom and I were getting along, she'd surely try to divide us. Anna was ruthless, who knows how far she'd go. So I kept acting distant, as if I couldn't stand my mom, to keep Anna from plotting anything. But Anna was always suspicious. During dinner, my dad asked coldly, "Catherine, did you see your mom today?" When I stayed silent, he slammed his utensils down in anger. "Didn't I tell you not to see her? Did you just ignore me? She abandoned us, Catherine. Don't you know?" He was furious. My dad hated my mom deeply, always instilling that hatred in me. He forbade me from seeing her alone and never wanted to hear anything good about her. I didn't know why he hated her so much, but I knew he was wrong. Having lived another life, I learned she wasn't the bad person he painted her to be. Anna soothingly said, "Hey, don't be so loud. You'll scare the kid. Catherine knows who's good for her." I glanced at her indifferently. How did my dad know I'd seen my mom? Someone must have stirred the pot. Yet here she was, pretending to be the peacemaker. Anna shifted, playing the concerned figure for me. "Catherine's been through a lot. And oh, when you had your accident, I messaged your mom, but she didn't even come. What kind of mother is that?" I found it amusing. Did she really message my mom? I bet she purposely sent it to the wrong number, just putting on a show. Finished with my chicken wing, I wiped my mouth and coolly said, "Yeah, I don't have anything to say to her. Aunt, I was just trying to find ways to get that woman to give me money for you. Since she left me, I figure it's fair to ask for some cash." I showed sympathy. "Aunt, I can't think of any other way to help you with the money. Since my mom came, why not?" Anna's face froze immediately. My dad's expression turned serious too. He asked Anna, "Money? What's this about?" "Aunt came to borrow $5,000 the other day. I couldn't come up with it. Anna said her sister needed surgery urgently," I explained. His face darkened, looking suspicious. "Surgery? How come I didn't know?" He was strict about money. Anna never dared to hint at wanting anything from the family wealth, always staying in line as a housewife. Anna stammered, whispering about a minor surgery. "Minor surgery? How does a minor surgery cost $50,000? My dad's face was dark enough to drip water. Typical minor surgeries don't cost that much, even after insurance. My dad let Anna in the house because she had signed an agreement. Now, he felt disrespected because Anna was asking me for money. That night, I could hear my dad scolding Anna harshly. He accused her of being wasteful and having no sense of managing a household, questioning what she needed the money for. Anna couldn't come up with a reason and said it was for a prayer ritual to bless me and Betty, hoping for our success in the college entrance exams. My dad scolded her even more, calling her brainless. Anna cried and tried everything to appease him. I listened through the surveillance, feeling a chill. I haven't mentioned the previous minor issues, but now she was using my mom against me to sow discord. It was time for a calculated strike. The next day when I got up, Anna and my dad were in the living room. My dad was dressed in a suit, ready to leave. Anna was putting his tie on and even kissed his cheek. "Seems like she's sweet," talked him quite a bit last night. Honestly, Anna is pretty attractive. She knows how to charm people, and she offered not to take my dad's money, so he married her. My dad suddenly asked me why I wouldn't give the New York University spot to Betty. "You could easily get into NYU. Plus, weren't you aiming for Harvard? Helping Betty won't harm you." I glanced at Anna. She sure knows when to fan the flames. "Uncle." Betty was about to throw a tantrum, just like her mom. Before she could start, I smiled and said, "Dad, I've changed my mind. I want to stay at NYU. Our family business is here, and I have no need to go to Harvard. Staying local means I can help with the company. As for Betty, even if she gets the offer, she can't major in economics at NYU. I thought it over. She could apply for an economics major at Shanghai Finance University. Dad, this way, we can both join the company later, making it bigger and stronger together." Anna froze for a moment, while Betty stared at me in disbelief. What I said showed my willingness to work with Betty in managing the family business, treating her like a real sister. They couldn't help but be moved. My dad laughed heartily. "Catherine, you thought this through. Betty, you should learn from Catherine." Betty looked at me eagerly, promising to learn from me. Anna quickly chimed in, saying she's not after Dad's company. "Honey, the company is all yours. It doesn't matter what happens to Betty, everything's Catherine's anyway." My dad waved his hand. "All right, Catherine is coming to see the company site with me this weekend. You should have Betty come along too. The company. It was always just Dad and me. Now with Dad inviting Betty too, Anna looked calm but was secretly thrilled. Anna was overjoyed. After my dad left, she whispered plenty to Betty, telling her to make a good impression. I smiled slightly. Go ahead, keep being happy. Striking when the villain is full of themselves, thinking they're safe, is always the most potent blow. I'm going for the heart. Soon it was the weekend. Betty stayed up reading a ton of company materials, confidently setting off with us. Dad took us to the current project site of a commercial building. When it came time for lunch, Betty asked what my dad wanted to eat, ready to order right away. Dad suggested eating nearby, reminiscing about the past struggles. My dad always eats at a fast food place near the site when he visits. But Betty didn't know, it was her first time here. When we got to the grimy little cafe with flies everywhere, her face turned green. She forced herself to sit and pretended to be interested in Dad's stories. While Dad was talking, two men in work clothes at a nearby table raised their voices. Working hard every day for crumbs, we're never gonna be free. Tell me about it. Gotta feed the family somehow. Hey, we're not as lucky as Peter. You know Peter, right? They looked like they worked on a nearby site, their hands covered in grime. One of them went on, Peter and his roommate scored a big gig, made almost 20 grand, and now he's back home. What kind of gig earns that much? The man lowered his voice, full of intrigue, heard a rich lady hired him to pretend ambush her stepdaughter, then the lady swoops in to play hero mom. Crazy, right? Even though they spoke in hushed tones, it was clear as day in the small cafe. My dad's face instantly darkened. Betty started sweating bullets, mouth open trying to explain. The men continued. These rich folks sure got time to waste. Guess she wants a piece of the inheritance. Betcha she's got kids of her own needing a slice. Being this malicious to your own family? No wonder some people are loaded. My dad abruptly stood, shooting Betty a fierce look, storming out of the cafe. Back home, Anna greeted him with a smile, only to be met with a slap. Ow. Honey, what are you? Anna was knocked to the ground, covering her face, tears filling her eyes. My dad coldly asked if she set up the stunt. Anna wanted to deny it, but Dad said he knew everything. Anna turned pale, her lips trembling. No way. I didn't. I chose that moment to cry out, Auntie, how could you do something so heartless? Didn't you know how scared I was that day? And to think I trusted you. I'm just a girl, how could you do that to me? Betty cautiously tried to intervene. Uncle, trust my mom. She'd never do such a horrible thing. Choking up, I added, how can I trust? Oh, so Auntie wants to borrow money? Is she trying to shut those thugs up? It's not Anna who's feeling the pressure, it's my dad. His face turned pale as he listened intently, and veins bulged on his hands. Anna anxiously reached out to grab my dad's arm, but he angrily shook her off. What are you planning, scheming like this? Still claiming you're innocent? Get out now. The large living room echoed with the cries of Anna and Betty. Anna might be losing her mind. She didn't believe those lowlifes would spill the beans. She made sure they left town and paid them enough to keep quiet. Even Matthew would have trouble dealing with this from afar. Matthew offered to find them and bring them back for $30,000 and let me handle it. I didn't have that kind of money, but I had a clever way out. My plan was to get Anna to admit everything through someone trustworthy unintentionally spilling the beans. The accidental meeting at the construction site was no accident. Those two were part of a role play Matthew arranged. Anna must have felt like she'd seen a ghost. Who could have imagined that someone she trusted would plot such an elaborate scheme? With tears streaming down, Anna admitted her wrongdoing. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I really wanted to be like a real mother to Catherine and build a relationship with her, but I couldn't get through to her, so I resorted to this. It's my fault. I'm to blame. Punish me however you want. I just wanted this family to feel like a family. Anna started slapping herself. Each slap was loud, and her face quickly swelled up. She was playing the victim now. She claimed it was all her fault, yet subtly pinning the blame on me for not accepting her as a mom, causing this family to feel distant. Anna's main argument to convince my dad was that she just wanted to improve her relationship with me and had no intention of letting those thugs really hurt me or take any money from our family, that everything would remain the same afterward. My dad silently watched as she hit herself until her face was swollen and her lips bled, then asked me, "Catherine, do you think your aunt deserves forgiveness?" His voice had returned to a steady calm. As someone who's been climbing the corporate ladder for decades, his thoughts ran deep. Much like how he'd deal with an employee who made a mistake, he analyzed Anna's fault with cold precision, calculating the appropriate punishment. He'd already made his decision. My dad's a strong-willed man, self-centered. He didn't really care about any woman as long as Anna and my stepsister feigned vulnerability, he'd side with them. As for me being plotted against by Anna, how much did this incident actually damage her standing in his eyes? On one side is a beautiful woman who tried to mend her relationship with her stepdaughter and added emotional and physical value, who's probably too scared to act out again. On the other side, his daughter who was plotted against but not actually harmed. Would my dad's scale tip completely to one side? If it were my mom choosing, the answer would be absolute. Now, I sniffled and considerately said, "Dad, maybe you should go easy on Auntie." Perhaps I was too cold to her, and she didn't think things through before acting. Anna, her face streaked with tears, looked at me gratefully. My dad reprimanded her, "Look at Catherine, then look at yourself. Nearly 40 and still this childish. From now on, I want reports on all your expenses every month." I guessed right. Given my dad's nature, he'd see this as a family scandal, definitely not a criminal matter. He'd already weighed the pros and cons in his mind, my words were just formality. Men always think they have everything under control. Even if I made a fuss, he probably wouldn't divorce Anna. It was better to let things go smoothly. Besides, I'm not just looking to kick Anna out, I want payback for all the hurt. I need to fan the flames. These flames need to reach my dad. What kind of spark would start this fire? I wasn't sure, until Anna gave me an idea. After my dad left, Betty tried to comfort Anna, who wailed and cried loudly, angry enough to shout. I leisurely made some tea, like I was listening to music. It seemed to be the first time Anna lost her composure so badly. After venting, Anna's voice was steady again. "Something's not right, everything was just too convenient. So convenient that it feels like someone set it all up. Honey, do you remember what that person who spoke looked like?" "I don't remember, I was scared to death at the time." "Mom, could it really be Catherine? But she even stood up for you today, it can't be her, right?" Anna coldly replied, "This is suspicious, our plans need to change slightly. We need to move to the next phase." The next phase? Through the listening device, I heard phrases like medicine and switching back, which puzzled me. But gradually, I started to piece things together. In my previous life, about 6 months after Anna saved me, my dad suddenly died of a heart attack. Then I was swamped with preparing for college entrance exams, leaving all the family affairs to Anna. Thinking back, maybe his death wasn't an accident after all. Medicine? My scalp tightened in realization. I realized what measures Anna took to engineer my dad's accident. They really have no limits. Once I was prepared, I went to talk to my dad. When he got home from work, Anna still greeted him with a smile, as if the argument never happened. "Honey, I prepared a bath for you. How about a soak later?" She took out the blood pressure pills with warm water and said the medication was ready. My dad has hypertension and needs medication to keep it under control. Anna takes care of these things personally, even more diligently than my dad. But today, my dad didn't take the pills. He just coldly stared at her. "Honey, what's wrong? Remember to take your pills, or your blood pressure will cause problems." With a sweep of his hand, my dad knocked the pills over, the cup shattered on the marble floor. Anna's face turned white. Honey? You still pretending? My dad was furious, grabbing Anna's hair and shoving her into the wall. What kind of drugs did you give me, you witch? My dad even started cursing because this was about his life. Honey, I don't know what you're talking about, Anna denied it all. That's when I walked in all casual, turned on the TV, and played a video. In the video, Anna was sneaking around, opening my dad's pill bottle, and swapping out the meds with nearly identical white pills. Anna's face went ghostly white, nervously saying, Honey, it's all fake, you can't believe it. Fake? I pulled out a test report and waved it in the air. This drug has been urgently tested by a certified lab. My dad has a heart condition. The doctor specifically said he could only take certain blood pressure meds. Some meds would make his condition worse. Auntie, you're something else, swapping my dad's meds without a trace. These have stimulants in them. If he keeps taking them, it could kill him. I was furious. My dad's been good to you. Why would you try to kill him? I didn't. That's not what those pills are for. Anna screamed, her voice hoarse. Then she snapped back, glaring at me. It's you, isn't it? You set me up. Did you fake those reports? You know those weren't harmful meds. You're framing me to kick me out of this house. She lied. Honey, Catherine is lying. My dad was beyond angry. Shut up, pack your bags and get out now. The evidence was undeniable. This time, my dad saw it with his own eyes. It wasn't just some joke, she was out to get him for real. My dad wasn't putting up with her anymore. He wanted Anna to pack her things and leave right away. Anna kept insisting she was innocent. I watched them calmly, with just a hint of a smile. Yes, the meds weren't actually harmful to my dad. When I heard Anna was planning to swap the pills, I moved his meds and set up a hidden camera. I took pills before and after Anna swapped them out. The tests showed the meds before the swap were harmful, but the ones she replaced were the originals. Anna had already switched my dad's meds before this. I guess she panicked, thinking she'd been caught, and tried to swap them back. But I had already set a trap, getting results that worked against her. Anna's voice was practically gone from all the yelling. Poor her. She tried to backtrack once, but now she had to leave the home she'd worked hard to build. She couldn't take anything she wore or used. Years down the drain, and Anna was on the verge of breakdown. She and Betty each grabbed one of my dad's legs, crying their eyes out. My dad was fed up, kicking one of them off. Then he called security to have them both dragged out. Things had changed around the house. By the end of the night, Anna, along with her bags, was thrown out. Odds were, my dad would have his lawyer handle the divorce. But, sometimes things happen unexpectedly. My dad had a heart attack that night. After emergency treatment, he was still unconscious. Probably because he was so upset and from taking the wrong meds for too long. Those pills were like slow poison, no obvious signs, until someone flips out and it could kill him. In a top New York private hospital, I was pale as a sheet. Anna and Betty rushed over, panicking, asking about my dad. I covered my face, choking up. The doctor said if my dad didn't wake, he might be a vegetable. Anna's face changed, and she exchanged a look with Betty. Then they wailed, calling my dad honey over and over. Then Anna sat by me, fake comforting me through her tears. Catherine, don't worry, your dad will pull through. You have to stay strong, the company needs you. Your aunt really considers you guys family, you know? The pills were really swapped out, I just put them back. If you don't believe it, get them retested. She had come up with an excuse overnight. Even now, she wanted to keep her image as the caring stepmother. My dad being in a coma freaked her out. She was grasping at straws. I coldly brushed her hand away. My dad planned to divorce you. As for the company, I'll manage it with my mom's help. Anna panicked. Your birth mom? You know what she's like, right? She'll take over the company. Trying to twist it? She's the one who wants the company gone. Someone get her out of here. No visitors for my dad without my approval. The divorce will be handled by our lawyer. I was steely, with a tone like a rising star in the business world. I was in charge now. Anna stopped pretending, glaring at me, shouting she wouldn't sign the divorce papers if my dad didn't wake. She glanced at the lawyer. The lawyer, sharp from the company's legal team and also my dad's private attorney. As soon as my dad fell into a coma, I met with him and found out about the will. According to the original will, if my dad died or lost his abilities, I'd take his role in the company. Anna and Betty would get 2 houses and positions at the company. I asked him, "Lawyer, you'll stay loyal to us, right? I want him to win this divorce case, leaving Anna with nothing." The lawyer nodded, agreeing to help. He didn't look me in the eye. I smiled slightly. The lawyer seemed like an interesting person. After Anna left, I stayed with my dad at the hospital. Suddenly, I heard the clack of heels. It was Mom. She looked harried, hair askew like she had dropped everything to get there. But when she got 2 meters from me, she stopped. Afraid I'd kick her out. I called out, "Mom," and my eyes immediately welled up with tears. My mom rushed over, wrapped me in her arms, and comforted me, telling me not to be afraid because she was there with me. She thought something had happened to my dad, and I struggled to accept it. Memories from 2 lifetimes hit me hard. It felt like I was back in my previous life, witnessing my mom holding my lifeless body. Back then, as a spirit, I felt nothing. Now I finally realize how warm my mom's embrace is. But I missed out on half a lifetime, barely even speaking a few words to her. My mom awkwardly let go of me, worried yet keeping her distance, asking, "With your dad gone, will you be okay? Should I rent a hotel nearby?" "Don't worry, I won't disturb you. I just want to be there in case you need help." Suddenly, I asked, "Can I stay with you?" My mom was taken aback. She brought me home. It was a simple house with not much furniture, just lots of company files scattered on the desk. My mom was clearly a workaholic. "Do you want anything to eat?" "I can whip something up," she said, excited yet nervous, her hands not knowing where to go. This was the first real conversation we'd had in years, and both of us felt a bit overwhelmed. "How about a bowl of egg noodles?" I suggested. She prepared it skillfully with eggs and veggies, and it was ready in no time. Just a simple dish, but it tasted fantastic to me. This time around, it wasn't just about revenge on Anna and her crew. More importantly, it was about reconnecting with my mom. Maybe it was a gift from above, to cherish the love of my family once more. Watching me eat, my mom had that motherly look in her eyes. Hesitant for a long moment, she revealed the reason she left years ago. "Your dad was very controlling. After we got married, he became more violent and even hit me sometimes. I couldn't take it and had to leave, but he wouldn't let me take you. He had money, and I couldn't win any legal battles. I had no choice but to leave you. My dad cut off all contact between us and hired caretakers to watch over me, not letting Mom come near. She could only work hard, hoping to one day take me away. But when I grew older, I resented her due to the brainwashing. As I swallowed my noodles, I told her it was okay. I understood now. If I were in her shoes, facing domestic violence, I might have also chosen to leave. A mother is still herself before she's a mom. And more than anything, from my past life, I'd realized my mom's love for me was undeniable. "Mom, have you heard of Northern Myanmar?" I asked. She looked puzzled, not aware, not reincarnated. I relayed the story of Anna's plot to gain my trust. My mom gritted her teeth in anger. "I'm going to kill that woman." I'd never seen her so furious before. That's what mothers do for their daughters. They don't hand their daughters over to mobsters just to keep the peace. A real mom wouldn't let her child get hurt, not even a bit. I reassured her, telling her my plan. "Don't worry, Mom. I'm going to wait for them to make their move, then strike when they least expect it." I shared a secret with her. She was shocked but promised to support me fully. I was right. Anna and her gang were about to act. The same restaurant from my past life, the same familiar dishes, and Betty's tastes hadn't changed. But the conversation was a little different. She raised a glass like she was going to her doom, drinking it down in big gulps and saying she wanted to apologize to me. "Big sis, it was my mom's fault for sending those thugs after you, but she just wanted us to be family. And that drug, it's harmless, honest. My mom only picked it up. Please forgive us. We can't afford to eat, or live on the street, it doesn't matter. Just don't be mad, and I'll do anything." Betty cried, playing out her mom's tactics pretty well. "So, do you really know you were wrong?" I asked. She nodded vigorously, "Yes. Please forgive us, sis." I shrugged, saying I'd think about it, and drank the water on the table. A minute later, I slumped over the table, passed out. Betty pretended I was drunk and helped me out, grinning wickedly as we left. "Ha, sis, enjoy this last meal, 'cause you won't find this anywhere else. Once you're out of the picture, it'll just be me and my mom at home. You can take your filthy dad and get lost." She thought I was knocked out and didn't hold back her disdain. I suddenly opened my eyes. "Oh? Are you saying I won't get to eat anymore? You?" She looked horrified. "You're not out?" The next second, someone rushed in from behind, covering her mouth with a towel. It was my mom, looking like she was about to tear Betty apart. Betty struggled, her cries muffled and strength waning. Well, she picked this place, no cameras, what can she do now? In my past life, Betty drugged my drink, and when I woke, I'd been captured. But this time, I bribed the server to swap my drink. "You're shameless." Her muffled voice protested, "What are you gonna do to me?" Annoyed, I pulled out a strong sedative I'd prepared and injected her. "What am I going to do?" "Give you everything back in return, little sis." Betty's expression twisted with fear, and she shut her eyes tightly. The sedative was powerful enough to keep her out for a day and a night. By the time she wakes up, she should be in Southeast Asia. I took Betty's phone, used her fingerprint to unlock it, and messaged her contacts. "I got the person. What's the license plate?" "She can suffer everything I've been through." Once Betty was in the car, I sent another message, "Oh, and make sure to take good care of her, okay?" That's what she once said to me, now, it's coming right back at her. Every pain I suffered, she'll have to endure it all. Shortly after Betty got in the car, Anna messaged her phone. So, I replied in her tone, telling her mom everything was smooth sailing and not to worry. The night was dark and windy. In front of my dad's hospital room, the nurse on duty was yawning non-stop. She looked like she was about to fall asleep. Meanwhile, two figures quietly sneaked into my dad's room. A woman's voice, sweet but vicious, said, "Hubby, don't blame me for being cruel. You can't expect me to stick around when you're so stingy. Did you really think I was attracted to just you? If you weren't loaded, do you think I would have married you?" She continued, "Are you sure this is okay? As long as he dies, everything's ours?" The man replied, "Exactly. Since you're not officially divorced yet, you're still the heir. Once the main heir in the will dies, you, as his spouse, will get everything. You take control of the company, and once Catherine officially goes missing, everything will be yours." Anna giggled, giving the man a peck. "Well, what's mine is ours, right? Should I do it now?" She walked towards the bed, ready to pull out my dad's tubes. Suddenly, the lights flicked on. My dad and I stepped in, walking in with purpose. Anna was stunned, staring at us like she'd seen a ghost. "Aren't you supposed to be in a coma?" The man next to her was also in disbelief. He was our lawyer. In my second chance at life, I'd been thinking about why Anna put up with things for so long and chose now to act against me and my dad. She must have found out about my dad's will. That's why she acted so fast, trying to get everything in her hands. And the few who knew about my dad's will? Just his closest lawyers. So, I got Matthew to check into the lawyers. What we found was shocking. There were plenty of hotel records, and Matthew's guys even caught Anna leaving a hotel room. Anna wasn't just whispering sweet nothings into my dad's ear, she was working on his lawyer too. Busy woman. Seeing us now, she was scared out of her mind. What are you doing here, hubby? Listen, let me explain. She was terrified, realizing everything she did was out in the open and she was about to land in jail. My dad, in a cold tone, said, I heard everything you just said. Get ready for prison. Her face was full of panic, sweating all over. You weren't waiting here all along, were you? Honey, you were never in a coma. You tricked me. Yep, time to spill the beans. With Anna's limited imagination, if I didn't say something soon, she might explode. The day I caught Anna switching meds, I went to my dad. I laid out videos, recordings, everything in front of him, and told him how in the past life, they destroyed our family. My dad looked conflicted, then seriously asked, Daughter, what do you want? What do I want? I never just wanted Anna and Betty out of the house. That's too easy. I want them to suffer. For every cut and drop of blood I endured, they must suffer more. But given our new reality, the most I could do was make them divorce. Reporting the drugging incident would get them a lighter sentence at best, letting Anna off too easy. I won't let them have such an easy life. I want to tear off Anna's mask and let her reap what she sowed. But I needed my dad's support. So, I made a bet with him. A bet that Anna would try to harm him. If she did, my dad would naturally be on my side. I promised to help him find his inside man at the company. He agreed. When it came to his company's interests and his life, he chose to bet with me. In the office, my dad declared loud and clear, like father, like daughter. You're my child. Show me what you've got. This was a play I put on with my dad. In a private hospital, packed with people, no one knew my dad never had a heart attack. We bet on who would act first. Clearly, Anna couldn't wait. Her lover couldn't either. The lawyer broke down, begging my dad for forgiveness. Anna dropped her act, glaring at me maliciously, I should have killed you myself. Catherine, you always got in my way. She suddenly kicked the lawyer hard and made a run for it. Oh well, when disaster strikes, love doesn't matter. She tried to buy time by dragging the lawyer down with her. The lawyer's face was pale as he cussed, trying to flee. My dad blocked him in, saying, in a rush, Are we, counselor? Anna frantically fled the hospital, trembling as she messaged Betty. I used Betty's phone, claiming I was on the run. Said Catherine broke out and knocked me out. Played up the fear of Catherine calling the cops, and that I was planning to flee abroad to lay low. Anna cussed me out, saying I'd gone back, and I told her to leave too, giving her a plate number and time, saying someone would pick her up. Anna texted back so much, Darling daughter, protect yourself. Mom's only got you left. I laughed and replied, You too, take care not to get spotted, okay? In the dead of night, Anna got into a car. She barely asked where Betty was before being knocked out. Well, there's always time for that mother-daughter reunion later. Anna woke, bound tightly, and with tape over her mouth. She realized she was surrounded by men with grimy smiles, starting to panic. They ripped off the tape, and she shouted, Who are you people? Let me go. Now. Where's my daughter? Wham, her face got slapped swollen, and a guy yanked her head, smashing it against the car door. Quiet, Grandma. You'll see who you want soon enough. Anna was in so much pain, her eyes wide open, finally realizing. Catherine, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. A phone was shoved to her ear. I greeted her cheerily, Hey, stepmom. Happy now? She finally saw it, I'd been playing her all along. I admitted it. Ever since she bribed those thugs, I knew every move she made. Everything after that was just a show I put on. You played the role of the stepmother so well. Do you think I, as the good stepdaughter, won't match up? You, Anna, were so furious you were breathing hard. Taking such a blow to the head, she was nearly out of her mind with rage. Being deceived and manipulated feels awful, and that's how I felt back then. I didn't navigate all this, just to end in a simple divorce. It was for this moment. I want her to feel the same pain, to destroy her emotionally. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Anna took a deep breath and said, "Where's Betty? Did you send her to northern Myanmar?" "Catherine, I'm begging you, do whatever you want to me, but leave Betty alone. I'm begging you. You can put me in jail or make me kowtow, just let Betty go." Anna's voice trembled with tears, showcasing her ability to be flexible. For her daughter, she decided to sacrifice herself. I replied coldly, "For Betty, you'd go to such lengths. What a great mother. But are you the only one with maternal feelings? Do other daughters not need mothers? You chose to destroy me and my home for your selfish desires, and now you're getting what you deserve." On the other end, Anna cried painfully, "I'm begging you, Catherine, I'm begging you." Too late, she's probably already in northern Myanmar now. I unemotionally instructed the driver to take the call and give Anna an injection to ensure she stays unconscious until reaching northern Myanmar. After hanging up, my mom looked at me with compassion. She worried I'd carry psychological scars from hurting others, burdened by this past for life. But I wouldn't. After going through so much, nothing I do to Anna and her group will soften my heart. Honestly, if I had to do it again, would splitting the assets with them make things different? Impossible. My dad's original will stated Anna and her daughter would get 2 houses, valued at about 5 or 6 million, plenty for them to live the rest of their lives. My dad also said I could offer Betty a high-paying job in the company, ensuring her a lifetime of comfort. Plus, since I was on good terms with them back then, they'd surely receive dividends and shares. But there's never an end to greed. And now, they can spend the rest of their days in northern Myanmar. In the end, the lawyer got detained for leaking the will and attempted murder. Anna and Betty were declared to have fled abroad, and my dad started working with another lawyer on divorce proceedings. In the office, my dad leaned back in his chair, looking at me with approval. "You truly are my daughter, showing real guts this time. Such leadership is what's needed for the future of the company. Also, about the company's business shares transferred to you, make arrangements to transfer them back. The company's business is a branch of the corporation. During this scheme, those shares were temporarily given to me." He viewed this as a test, a cold CEO training his successor. But the next generation wouldn't be controlled like this. I smiled lightly, "Dad, now that it's under my name, let me manage it. You're getting older, take a break. It's time for me to enter management. In a few months, after my exams end, the company will be my realm." My dad's brow furrowed, "You're after my position?" He was a bit surprised, a bit mad, as if he couldn't believe I would betray him. I shrugged, "Not at all. The corporation still needs you, but I should also start to shine. After all, I'm your only biological daughter, and I won't let anyone down." The ruthless lion's daughter undoubtedly inherits part of his merciless nature. By the way, I'll be moving in with my mom soon. No need to try and brainwash me. I have my own thoughts, and I'll judge for myself what kind of person my mom is. Whatever my dad wanted to say, I didn't care anymore. I'm grown now, destined to rise above my dad. I'll protect those who love me. Behind me, my dad was livid but eventually just sighed. He knew his age was showing. With Anna and Betty's situation resolved, my focus is now finding my mom. In the evening, I knocked on my mom's door. She was stunned, then delighted to hear I'd be staying, quickly buying lots of delicious food. While cooking, she tried to wipe away tears discreetly, not wanting me to see. When it was time to sleep, I hugged a teddy bear and asked if I could sleep with her. This teddy bear was a gift from when my mom first found me again. Back then, I'd stomped it into the ground, ignoring her tear-filled eyes, but she secretly picked it up, washed it, and left all the gifts in a room. I had a whole room of toys. She was trying to make up for everything I'd lost. Of course you can. My mom quickly pulled back the covers, adjusting the AC in a flurry, worried I'd catch cold. In the dark, neither of us slept. My mom patted my back, humming a lullaby for kids. Half asleep, I had a dream. In it, my mom held my lifeless body. Suddenly, a voice asked her if she'd trade everything for her daughter's life back. She agreed without hesitation, saying she'd pay any price, even her own life. It seemed, it was a divine trial. And my mom's genuine motherly love granted me a second chance. No wonder this life, when she saw me, she'd cried without understanding why. Her soul must have remembered. Half awake, I listened to her lullaby, gaining a bit more memory. In those memories, I was maybe a year or two old, and my mom was singing to lull me to sleep, while I giggled reaching for her face. Those were the memories of my mother's warmth. So much like now. I smiled, hugging my mom tightly. This life, no matter what storms come, I'll face them head on. I'll walk forward with my mom by my side.